I'm Christine. Welcome to the Recovering Perfectionist podcast, where I empower you to develop sustainable habits, challenge society, and take messy action. It's time to align with the universe for the full human experience and redefine what it really means to be successful.
It's too good, the secret is out and wow.
Welcome back to the Recovering Perfectionist podcast. This is a very special one. We're doing a live version here. We're at the Holiday Dance Classic. I'm here with Sarah, Nolan. I just want to start by saying thank you for being here. Thank you for doing this.
Of course.
At like, what are we, 9:30 in the morning?
Don't look at the clock.
She said.
I don't know.
We finished at like 2 in the morning yesterday. You danced your butt off. Thanks. I want to start by asking if you believe in manifestation.
Oh, wow. Girl, we're starting hot and
We're
heavy.
just diving right in.
All right. Yes. Yes, but the word feels way more sparkly and special than it feels when I do it.
Ooh.
Does that make sense?
It does, and I want you to elaborate on that because I've never
Yeah.
heard it put that way before, but I do feel what you're saying.
I think I've manifested my whole life. Like, I was super young, writing in my little diary, like, I want to live overseas. I want to be a dancer. I was like, I don't know, like 10. I was like, I want to.
Because you're originally from, for those
New
who don't
Zealand. I'm originally from New Zealand.
The accent catches on some words,
You'll
so pay
find
attention.
it, but yeah. When I was really young, I just knew that that's what I wanted to do. And I would just write in my diaries. And I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything about adult life, but I would write like, okay, and I'll get a job in a cafe and maybe I'll make this many dollars and then maybe rent is gonna be this much. Like I was trying to figure it out.
Wow.
And then here I am. So looking back, it wasn't like manifesting and sparkly and amazing and romantic. It was super, super hard. But looking back now I can see like, oh, like I got here. That's exactly what I wanted. So I guess I manifested that.
Right,
Yeah.
but also it sounds like you had this like fire inside that you were like, you weren't, there was intention behind it, but it wasn't like, I'm going to do this because I want this. It's like, this is just the only way I know how to live.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you already, did you feel like you were going to get here through dance?
That was the only
Because
thing I could.
you started at what time, how old?
Maybe 8 or 9-ish. Dance was the only option. There was literally no other option.
That's
that
amazing.
was the only thing that I was committed to in my life. Every other thing, like any other sports, schoolwork, any hobby that I tried, no, but dance was like, that's the only thing that I'm fully committed to. It was very chill, very easy, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very easy. I love
Being
that.
committed to it was very easy.
Yes, because you loved it. I get it.
Yeah.
I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
The reason I started with that question is because you being here and us having this conversation for me is completely manifested.
Ooh, girl.
Because and that's tingly.
That's tingly.
That's
Okay,
tingly.
now I'm feeling the tingles. All right, I got it.
When
Cute.
it was Desert Classic.
Yes.
I had just had my son a couple months earlier, and Desert Classic was my first comp back working, and I don't know how I fell on your Instagram.
Okay.
Something happened, something led me to
The algorithm.
The algorithm, right.
Thank you.
And I saw some of the things you were doing, and it was it didn't take a long time for me to realize the vibe that was there and what you were doing and why you were doing it and kind of the energy of the kind of person that you were. Very authentic, very real.
That's awesome to hear.
And showing a side of ballroom dancing that nobody shows. I think that's what caught me immediately is, and we're gonna link her Instagram because I'm gonna continue to reference it in the bio or in the show notes, but so many people wanna show this perfection side of ballroom dancing, which to be honest, that is kind of what it is. Judges
That's what we aim for.
That's what we aim for,
Yeah.
right? No hair out of place, spray tan, dress, perfect choreography. Judges are out there. You want to be your best in that moment. However, you and I both know that's not how this goes.
Correct.
Most of the time.
Correct.
Right? It's very rare. I mean, perfection doesn't exist. That's why we have, that's why this is called the Recovering Perfectionist. But also for us type A people, we're always like, we want this to be a certain way.
Yeah.
And so we were really hard on ourselves. And I think what's so beautiful about what you're doing is you're taking clips of you of like a wardrobe malfunction, or some, like you tripped, or not even that, you're very animated on the floor in a way that most people would feel like, well, I can't do that, that's too much.
Yeah.
And I want to know how this started. Like what confidence level in you and self-love did you give yourself that you are able to be in this space where you don't feel, and maybe you do, maybe you post something and you submit and you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna delete this later. And you just don't, but I feel like you're really solid in who you are.
Oh
And
my God, I'm like tearing up.
no, but I mean, it's
strong
it's
morning
real.
start.
It is.
It is real. I think I struggled a lot with not liking myself growing up. I struggled with body image issues. I struggled with not having the right education around nutrition. I struggled with like a lot of stuff, and I think I've done a lot of therapy. And I
Let's
think
go therapy.
we kind of found the root cause of this like difficulty that I had with myself. And then I knew that I wanted to love myself. I knew that this like didn't feel good, felt terrible. And I wanted to evolve past that. So I made the steps to evolve past that, like Spark Notes, long story short.
Yeah.
And so I'm in a very like, I really enjoy myself, not in a selfish way, but I really like who I am.
right, as
I really am
healthy
like,
confidence.
I'm so proud of myself.
You should
Like,
be.
But that's what drives me to be a bit more like grounded, a bit more on my feet than I think maybe my some of my peers or the people that are starting their journey. Like it came from me being really, really at the lowest point. Really, I mean, we all go through that. Like, we all go through a really, really low point.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, it's a bit later in life.
Right.
It just seemed to be that I think I went through it very early in my life, and there was a lot of other like things going on growing up. Like, we were in the city in New Zealand, like very far away, very cute little small city, and we had like traumatic earthquakes. And it's like a huge part of my life that some people know because they can't stop talking about it, but other people don't really know because it happened when I was in my early teens. So our whole city had earthquakes for like 2 or 3 years. We lost our home. The city lost everything. We were out of school for a year. So we went through hugely traumatic things, like as a community, as a family, and then also growing up with like not liking myself and hating certain parts about myself. So that was a lot. This is what my therapist calls big trauma. So dealing with that and like stepping out of it and realizing that was really hard, and now I feel good, I feel happy, I feel safe, I like my body, I've grown to accept it. So all of that journey, that's like Spark Notes version.
Amazing.
That's how I'm okay, like I'm at peace. I'm totally at peace
and it's
with
so
myself.
very clear. One of my favorite, because I went through last night before we had this conversation just to see a couple of things, and one of my favorites is the song "Are You Having Any Fun?"
Yeah. And then
What's
there's me
the getting
being
out
silly.
of living, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, right, because so many times I ask people when they're on the floor, I'm like, "Are you having fun? Like, or are you just doing this?" You know, for the show, or for the judge, or for your partner, or for whatever.
Yeah.
An ego boost. Who knows?
Yeah.
And I think it's so real. And you're right. It's you just all these little fun moments in your routine that we just talked about before. Yeah. We talked from last night. You're like, I never really know. Like every time you go out there, it's kind of a different experience.
Correct.
And last night we did a quarterfinal. So I saw you dance 3 rounds, which, whew, girl, not even, I think the hardest part, correct me if I'm wrong, because so many people have told me this, it's not the dancing the 3 rounds, it's the waiting between.
Yeah, the waiting.
It's just, because then now you're like, you got to warm back up and you got to warm the, and it's just
and maybe you're going to go, but maybe not.
Right. You don't even know.
And then they're going to do awards, you're like,
right, exactly.
But also, the last night was really difficult because it's Vegas, and we're in this hotel with a lot of air, a lot of people, huge hotel. So there's, smoke in the air, and then they condition the air. So the waiting is hard, and then the air is really hard. So it's a struggle. We love it, but it's a
No, but that's what I want, and I think that's the thing. You're
Yeah.
showing that behind the scenes. Even there's some fun little, antidotes of behind the scenes before you go on, and people are getting to see not just that perfect walk on the stage.
Right.
You're looking great,
Right.
lights in your eyes.
Right.
You're showing behind the scenes of you and your friends hanging out,
Yeah.
doing some
Yeah.
fun stuff. What's going on? The reality of
reality.
the putting on the costume, the this, that, and the other. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, people don't even know, just to go to the bathroom in our costumes. It's it's like a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
And so I think what I love about what you're showing is that this industry is a beautiful industry, and we
Right.
love being able to
Love
dress
it.
up and be cute. You looked amazing in your outfit last
you.
night. I was like, God, I just want to take it out of your closet and wear it. But there's so much that goes into that one moment on the floor. And that, I think, is the conversation
Yeah.
that we should be having.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
absolutely.
saying?
Yeah. I think it's also like some of the videos that I show as well, it's on the floor, all the little intricacies of what we have to deal with, what happens when the mistakes happen. Like one of the video, why I kind of started to notice that these videos picked up traction was the first one I posted. It was at Nationals, and I had fringe like stuck in my mouth.
Yeah, like to your lip gloss or something.
Stuck in my lip gloss.
I totally remember that.
And then I keep dancing, and then the fringe is still there, and then I kind of like spit it out because listen, the girl that I am on the floor, she had, there's different parts of my personality, as with everybody.
It's like Beyonce and Sasha Fierce.
Correct.
Totally.
I have a few more. So
She said there's not just one.
Yeah.
There's more than one.
Which we love them all.
Right.
But when I'm on the floor, and I've started to really work on this, sometimes I give up the control to this other part of my personality who absolutely doesn't care. So in that video, I spit out the fringe. I'm in the beginning of my rumba, intimate, beautiful, sexy, and I go,
I love it.
and I'm like, you know what? Let me post it. And at that time, my account really wasn't too viral. It just was okay. And that video went viral, and it went like 1 million, 2 million. I'm like, what on earth? What on earth? So the people were able to, people don't relate to ballroom dancers.
Well, that's the thing.
There's nothing relatable.
That's what I was going to say, is we
Right.
know why. I was going to say, why did it hit? We know why it
Yeah.
hit. It's because that was way more relatable than you walking on
Than
imperfection.
me doing my rumba, like,
Right.
look at me, but me spitting out the fringe, me having a problem on the floor was like, people found that amusing, people found that funny. So
Right.
then I started to see the pattern, and
Because don't get me wrong, you still looked amazing.
Right.
In your dress.
Right.
You were in your best form,
It was a thing,
Your partner
yeah.
looks great, but at the same time, it's like, oh, wow, look, she's just like us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Shit happens.
and she does crazy stuff,
Right,
apparently.
right.
So then, it started the next viral one that hit the millions was when I almost kicked my friend in the head.
Oh my gosh,
And
yes.
this is the thing that people who are not on the floor, you don't realize all of these little things that are going on and going through your mind at the
floor
time.
craft of it all. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I almost hit her in the head, and then I posted point of view, you almost hit your friend in the head. Again, millions. I'm like,
Crazy.
interesting. So I guess my personality was already along this route of being down to earth, silly,
Yes.
honest, amusing, and then the Instagram algorithm also liked
That's
it.
it. That's
So
it.
it kind of goes hand in hand.
But I can see that that's kind of who you are in real life. Like
Yeah.
when you're just hanging out with your friends, with your guy, with
Yeah.
everything, you're just you.
Yeah.
And I love that we started with, we got it out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you had your lowest points, you had
Correct.
body image issues, you went through all the things that everyone's going through. You didn't start your whole life I'm amazing.
No way.
You did the therapy, you did all the things,
Yeah.
and here you are. I always say therapy is always, it's a continual
Therapy is
maintenance,
fantastic.
right?
Yes,
but
yes,
it's a
yes.
continual maintenance. We're
Yeah.
always being preventative about new chapters in our lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so now to see where you are in this comfort level in your head and in your sport, in a sport that that drives perfection.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
fuels it.
Yeah.
And so many people, I see them off the floor and then I see them on the floor and I'm like, wow, and then they're so hard on themselves after and I'm like, but remember we were just goofing off yesterday at the park, what, why are you so, well, because
tricky.
I'm so pissed about the results. I'm like, Why aren't you just, are you having any fun?
Correct.
Like,
But
remember?
it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's hard because of different things drive different people. And sometimes the thing that makes somebody maybe not so balanced is what gets them where they need to be. So I learned
That fire.
Well, or that like self-hatred of like
Yeah.
if you hate your technique and you hate the performance that you did on the floor, maybe to you and me, the person would come off and would be like, oh, like it's not very balanced, your reaction to the performance. But that imbalance or that like craziness is what's actually going to get them to where they are.
Yeah.
Because for me, there's not many people who are down to, and I'm like talking a big talk here, like I'm completely imperfect, but I know that I'm trying to be as honest as I can to myself. I'm trying to be grounded, trying to be a bit silly. Not a lot of people make it with those qualities. Not a lot of people make it with the qualities of being chill and okay, because me being chill and okay makes me maybe not practice as much because it's okay, it's chill. Maybe like it's definitely
Right. You give yourself more grace, in which case there's,
I'm chill.
I see.
But there's a downfall to that, and I had to learn, like it helps with Nikolai because he's the polar opposite. And I had to take some from him of like not being so chill, not being so okay with my dancing, but doing it from my way, from a healthy point of view. I don't need to hate myself. That's my limit. But I don't have to be okay with maybe my forward walk turning. So the forward turning I can focus on, but that's not a reflection on myself not being good enough. The step wasn't good enough. Push harder. So then that, like,
well, that's the thing. It's the separating the identity piece.
Yes.
I think that's, you're right, because we talk about that a lot in ballroom dancing as well, is that the sport becomes so much of your identity.
Yes.
And yes, I was talking to Andrew Esklom. He just retired, and he was saying the same thing. He's like, I realized between partners when he hit one of his lowest points, he said, I realized that this is not my identity. I am someone who dances.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa.
Wow, therapy.
Right.
Wow.
I was like, holy crap, that must have been a good day for you when you realized that.
Yeah.
Because I don't think because look at him. He became, you know what I mean? Like, that didn't hold him back. That actually helped fuel him to be like, I'm doing this because I love it and because I'm good at it. But it's not, if I get a bad result, it doesn't mean that I'm a bad result, right? Or I'm a bad person, or I'm not good enough.
Yes.
They were judging my dance, not me.
My forward walk turning or whatever it is.
Right. That's so powerful what you just said.
I mean, it's hard though, because
easier said than done to separate.
Easier said than done, and maybe because I'm at a place of accepting other people, that imbalance or that craziness about that they struggle with themselves, that's what makes them get to the top. The amount of people at the top, the amount of people up there who are so not okay with themselves, oh my God, it's nuts.
It's nuts.
I'm like, really? You don't love yourself and you're like, that result?
Right. And I love you so much. And it's like, because you become fans of people and you realize, wow, they have so many insecurities.
Oh, you got problems. You got a lot of problems.
Right.
I mean, you can see it. You can see it in people's faces. For me, I think I can read it in people's faces because I have that sense of self, and I like my sense of self, and I like being grounded and, checking in with myself. So when I see sometimes people on the dance floor is like the rawest, purest form of that person.
Right.
So sometimes you can see when that person's, you can definitely see insecurity, but you can see, let's put it this way, I really like to see, and it's rare, people who have a sense of self and are very grounded and authentic to themselves. Very rare.
Very rare.
But there's a few, and it just feels so good to watch.
Well, and you are attracted to that energy because that's what you're projecting. So attracts like. And so you gravitate. I can see that. I feel the same way. And that's, again, one of the reasons, even through your Instagram, that's how I feel how authentic you're being.
Cool.
Even in the fact that you're being strategic about what you post. Like, I don't think that is fake. I think that is you understanding what it is that your brand needs and what it is that we're doing. Our brands are our business, and that's your life, and you're showcasing yourself with as a couple, with you know, with your fiance and all that. Let's talk about Nikolai, because you mentioned him. That was a good segue. I love him. He's fantastic. And what's so crazy, again, manifesting, when I saw him, because I found your Instagram, and then I saw you had just gotten engaged.
Okay.
You got engaged
in
June?
Was it April-ish?
April. Okay, so a little earlier than that.
Before May.
So I saw you pinned it to the top.
Yeah.
I was so excited for you. It was so cute. Again, so real, raw, like just the real I mean, that's the thing, is I think when a girl gets engaged, that's when you just like, you can't hold back anymore. It's like, you're not gonna be this perfect. I always told my brother, I was like, I'm not gonna be that girl that goes, oh my God, and puts my hand in my face. Was the first thing I did. Literally the first thing I did when I got engaged.
Yeah, you can't plan that reaction.
You can't plan that reaction. Yeah. So I then see him at Desert Classic, and I know him because he dances with our friend Robin.
Right.
And I've worked with Robin for many years.
We love Robin.
We love Robin. Shout out to Robin. And I go, oh my God, so I went up to him. I put it all together, and I was like, wait a minute, hang on a second. And I went up to him and I was like, hey, I feel like I embarrassed myself now that I think about it, but because I was just so excited that I knew the connection here. Yeah. And I was like, so you're engaged to Sarah Nolan, right?
Cute.
I was like, I just have to tell you that I love her on Instagram. I was like, I love what she's doing. Cool. I would love to chat with her. I was like, is she gonna be here today? Like, it was so funny. So the fact that, again, you were so open to all of this, but I just felt so connected to you.
Cool.
And sometimes, you know, as they say, like, don't meet your heroes, and they're like, but at the same time, it was like, I could tell that you were gonna be someone that I was seeing. Cool. I could tell it was gonna be authentic. Yeah. And I was like, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be good. I wanna pursue this.
Good energy.
At the after party,
first
thing that happened, you came out and you came over to our table because you wanted to see my baby. Do you remember that?
Wow.
And I was like, oh my God, what is the universe doing right now?
Wow.
Because I was gonna come over and talk to you.
Yeah.
And you came to me.
That baby.
I know.
I was like,
I know.
give me that baby.
That was my little attraction.
That's
and
awesome.
And it was so funny. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I've been meaning to talk to you. And that's kind of
Were we outside?
Yeah, at the Breakfast Summit Stars.
I'm like, where was that?
Yeah. And it was so funny because of all the people. I mean, we had a few people come over. The baby was there. It was the first time. Everyone was excited. But like, I didn't know you. You didn't know me.
No.
But it was just very, and that's what I like about you is that
nice.
there was an authentic interaction there because you were just like, oh my God, baby.
Yeah.
And it was like, I don't care if I'm gonna embarrass myself or like if I don't even know you and I'm just gonna come and talk to you, but like, I just wanna talk to your baby. Yeah. And I was like, this girl's the real deal.
I feel like if we show up with our, like, just our pure intentions.
Right.
I mean, the person can either take it or leave it, but you're gonna be satisfied with how that went.
You can sleep at night knowing that you were yourself. Yeah. And I think that's great. How long have you and Nikolai been dancing together?
Dancing together, oh goodness me. Possibly 8 years.
Wow.
Me and him are so bad with dates, so one
of
us is gonna get it wrong. It's totally fine.
That's fine.
Vegas was our first competition.
Holiday Classic?
Yes.
Oh shoot.
Yes.
This is your dance anniversary.
Yes.
I love
For how many
that.
years I don't know, but that's okay.
That's okay. That's fantastic.
I think 8 years, if not 7, because Wendy's a New Zealander, and we had this connection. How it all aligned, and then that was our first comp. So. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
And you met. Obviously, you came here. No, how did you guys
I met this
partner?
guy. Oh wait, this is a good story.
I was like, I want to know the details because I feel like it's a good story.
So I was living in England at the time.
Okay.
I'd left New Zealand. I'd been in England for a year and a half with my dance partner, who we came from New Zealand together.
Yep.
And things were just on their way out, and it was my last 6 months in England before I needed to figure out what the heck I needed to do because the visa finished. And
that's always tricky. So for those of you who don't know, just 2 major things that she just mentioned. Couples, when they're trying to find a partnership, they go through lots of partners. That's very common. You tend to move for partners. I mean, it's like that's how this industry works to make it to the champion level. And then the second thing is we deal with a lot of visa issues, and everyone coming from different places, Eastern European, New Zealand, all this stuff. And you're really just trying to do everything that you can, in that time span, hoping that someone believes in you, gives you a shot, and make a living.
Yeah.
And so those are two big things that, again, are very overlooked, and people are just kind of like, well, yeah, we're all dealing with that, so like we just don't talk about it. But it's like, that's important.
Also, it's tricky with the visa stuff because every single ballroom dancer struggled in some way, either directly or indirectly, with visa issues.
Totally.
But it's a difficult topic to talk about because it is so, I'm not going to say dangerous, but it's difficult to talk about visa stuff. It's really
right, because it's you don't know what you can and cannot say because you don't want to get anybody in trouble. You don't want to get yourself in trouble.
Yeah, even though you think like, you know, nobody does anything wrong, but the process of getting a visa, everyone goes through a slightly different process. It's so difficult. It's so intricate. There's so much paperwork. We normally have lawyers involved. It's so much. It's just like, I think at some point I do want to talk about it in a few years, all this visa issues as a whole, but the visa was a nightmare.
Because now you're fine. I mean,
I'm good. I need to get my citizenship.
But because that's also a thing we celebrate. The picture that everyone puts on Facebook
with the flag.
And everyone's excited. And I mean, the comment section, it's like you just announced you had a child or you got married. I mean,
for dancers,
that is huge. We all can't control ourselves. We have to congratulate. And when we see each other in person, it's like, oh my gosh. Like that's almost sometimes more important than you got married. Like, because it's like, you feel
it's a huge milestone.
Safe, you feel like you've accomplished something. You're in the land of opportunity. There's a lot to be said with that. So I agree. I want to do a part 2 on that with later on, and we can talk about that even with like dance wellness community, all that stuff. But continue with Nikolai.
Where were we?
You had just come with your partner. You were in.
So I was in England. We lived in England for a year already, and then
your visa was about to.
My visa was going to expire. And things had kind of like, we'd evolved as people. We grew up dancing together, so we just kind of like grew in our different ways. And I was finally single for like a second.
Okay.
And then we go to Blackpool. We have these like wonderful results. We're really proud of ourselves. And I meet this guy at the after party. I'd been single for, I don't know, a hot minute. And here comes Nikolai. He literally, I'm dancing on the dance floor. It's an after party. I'm single, I'm free, I'm happy, good results, and this guy comes out of nowhere, takes my hand, and rolls me in. It's him.
Shut up.
It's ridiculous.
See, I don't, that's so interesting because I don't see his personality being that forward.
Yeah, well, apparently the night before he had watched me the whole night.
Oh,
he was like,
shoot.
"Oh, I really like that girl, but I'm too nervous to go up to her." So the second night he built up the courage, and he came on the dance floor and he rolled me in, and then that was it. He didn't know where New Zealand was, so like, but I only found out that later. So essentially,
we gave him a pass for that.
Yeah, I was like, I thought it was Switzerland or Iceland.
Because he's from where?
Russia. Cold up near the polar circle. He has like the northern lights and all this stuff. So like as far as possible away from me. So we were like long distance for a couple of months. My visa was running out, and he was like, how about you just, come over and try it out? I was like,
so when you say long distance, you were long distance dating?
Yeah.
Okay, so that started for us. I was gonna say, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Like, did you date first or did you partner first?
In the beginning, like, we weren't sure of what it is or what it could be.
Right.
Because we were so far away.
But there was interest.
Yeah, I mean, we were like straight away. We're like totally in love. It was
that's incredible.
So cheesy. But we didn't know what it could be because I lived in England, I was from New Zealand, and he was in America, and he had his own partner and his own life. So we were like, well, let's just see what's gonna happen. And then it took about a year and a half for me to kind of move over, get the paperwork sorted. I was going back to New Zealand. It was a whole shambles, and then somehow here we are.
But then you decided to dance together.
Yes.
And did you do that out of, I don't want to say convenience. You usually read my mind. But also just like, I know you were doing, paperwork, all that goes into it as well. Yeah. But at the same time, like, 85% of our industry.
Yeah.
You see them everyone has the same last name, in the final. And so we do, the partnerships, they're together. But I also think that's very difficult. Mm-hmm. How do you maintain that balance of, this is the age-old question, off the floor, on the floor, you're always together. Mm-hmm. Do you get sick of each other? Mm-hmm. Do you bring your work home? It's all those questions. Yeah. How were you afraid that might And I'm disclaimering this
Yeah.
real quick because I want to hear your answer because
Yeah.
my husband and I, we waited to dance together a couple of years. Everyone was like, oh, when are you going to do a show? When are you going to do this? When are you going to
Yeah.
And we're like, I actually really like this guy and I think I want to marry him. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to fuck it up.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so...
Oh, we can swear on this thing? Okay, perfect. I was holding back you
No,
guys.
yes. No, but same thing for him. Like, we just didn't feel, and he's
Yeah.
more introverted than I am. So
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want this to feel like I'm
Yeah.
pushing you to do something you don't want to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
actually want to I want us to get to know each other. And so we waited and
Nice.
it paid off.
Yeah,
like when we finally did a show, everyone was so excited. They were ready for it. And
like you were ready.
And we were ready. And we were excited and it didn't feel like, oh my gosh, we have to do this. Or like we just threw this together. It was like,
Yeah.
no, it was
Yeah, yeah,
great.
yeah.
It was like one of the best moments of our relationship at that time, And so how do you feel? What is your experience level on that?
Nikolai was dancing with somebody else at the time when I was
Right.
over, and we were really actually happy building a relationship while he was also dancing. It was a nice
you had that time.
honeymoon time.
Yeah.
It was lovely. And then she'd moved over from New York and she'd also found a man. So they were kind of they were together, and then I think there was a lot of moving parts, and it all felt very transitional. But they decided to split, I think, maybe 6 months. They danced for a decent amount of time, and her boyfriend and me were the cheerleaders at the comps,
Yes.
and even we had tried, we did a little tryout. We're like, well, maybe we can just practice together. He was really, really tall, and we're like, maybe we can practice together, to keep company. But it happened how it happened. You know, they were absolutely
Organically.
in love. They went back and they got married. They're with their
Right.
family now. Her family's in New York, so they moved back over there. And we honestly, Nikolai, maybe do a tryout. He booked a tryout.
No,
was
he
like,
did
We're
not.
gonna do it professionally, and we're gonna go see. I think we did it with Maria Manasova because
Oh my
Eugene and Maria,
God.
we
Of
work with them.
course. That's
so
hilarious.
He booked a tryout. I was like, oh, well, all right, then we're gonna have a tryout.
Oh
so
my God, how funny.
I mean, of course, we knew how it was gonna go, but we just at least wanted to kind of do the steps as if trying to treat it professionally.
I mean, how
so,
nice. It's kind of
yeah,
like
it was
courting.
cute. Yeah.
Like,
It
how
was
freaking cute
yeah,
is that?
I was like, these are new feelings. Ooh,
Right.
Let's go. All right.
Right.
Yeah, it was cool.
Like, are you gonna not take me as a partner?
you're gonna
Like-
say no.
Like,
yeah, it was
the
cool.
butterflies start all over again.
Yeah, it was nice.
You've gone through so many chapters of what,
Yeah.
I mean, and all these things, and you are now a co-studio owner.
I know.
Like what?
Again, doesn't feel like that. It's
Right.
like we just did it.
We did it.
We saw a need.
Yeah.
Max Sinitsa was kind of the driver of the bus.
Yep.
Shout out to Max. We love you.
We love Max.
Love Max.
He's
He
a-
was kind
yeah.
of because he had things moving. He had moving parts, and he had this idea. Him and Eugene
I
had
was
kind
gonna
of
say,
this
the
idea,
connection with
baby
Eugene.
growing.
Yeah.
And it kind of we hopped on board, and then we found a location very quickly, and
everything
and now
just
we have
happened.
a studio. So it's if I would look as a child, when I was younger, writing in my diaries, when I would look at now, I'd be like, holy guacamole! Oh my God, it's so cool. But I'm in it, and I'm like, okay, I'm doing it. I'm doing this.
Well, that's the thing, and I think it's interesting that you just said that because we are now 2024. It's all about mental health, all the
Yeah.
things, and we have these memes that say the person that you are right now
Yeah.
is the person you wanted to be 5 years ago,
Yes.
and blah blah blah. And it's like,
Yes.
again, type A as hard workers, high achievers. We're always like, but there's more.
Yeah.
There's more to get.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's like, but you got to look. I always continue. My sounding board is my husband, and I'm always like, "Hey, I want to tell you this right now because I want to mark it."
Yes.
And I want to be like, "Hey, we did this."
Yeah.
We do life points,
Oh, that's cool.
which is super fun. And so, every month or so, we sit down and we're like, "Okay, what do we want to give ourselves a life point for this month?" Like
Cool.
a comp that we did, or something that we achieved, or something as simple as we had a really great date night. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. It can be whatever you want it to be. It's between the two of you. And we look at on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
We go through all the life points.
You write it down.
We write it down.
Oh, you're so
we do a
organized.
line and we write it down.
You are type A.
Oh yeah.
I love that. I cannot relate.
I'm the one that's like, babe, we gotta do life points tomorrow. But in the sense that,
That's
like, when I
hilarious.
tell you, we've been doing this now for 3 years,
Yeah.
and I keep all of the lists, and at the end of the year, when we look back at all the things we
Yeah.
did,
Yeah. Yeah.
the reward emotionally for
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
because I am the person, he's more present in the moment, I am the person that's like, okay, but like, I want this comp, but also like, I want to open this business,
Yeah.
but also like,
Yeah.
I want to do this, and
Yeah.
also like, we want to have a baby, and also, and it's like,
Gotcha.
hello, look at what you've already done.
Yeah.
I have to remind myself to be present,
awesome.
and the person I am now is the person I was writing in the journal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
And the reason we started with manifestation is because, again, I manifested my husband. Like,
Cutie.
fully, like, when I looked down,
Yeah.
our maid of honor, she said, girl, you had all this written down knowing exactly who you wanted, and this person showed up, and he checked every darn box.
Good job.
Shout out to him. Shout out to my amazing husband behind the camera. But like that, there's something so real about that.
But yeah, you're right. It's crazy in the moment. It's like,
But like you said, and I love that you said that it's not all that sparkly, because so many people, we talk about it in a
Yeah.
relationship. We talk about the honeymoon phase. We talk
Yeah.
about those sparks.
Yeah.
Right. The romance
Yeah.
of a relationship, and I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, now you've been together for so long with Nikolai as well, and you're about to be married. There is sparks, there is love, there is joy. When you see
Right.
that, when I see my husband walking across the room,
yeah.
sometimes I don't know he's walking
so
in the, I'm
cute.
like, oh shit, okay. And then I'm like, yeah, that's mine. Like, it's so great. But
Yeah.
the reality of the day to
The
day,
reality of the
there's
day-to-day.
no
Nice.
glitter and, it's not like,
just
we are
is.
doing
Yeah.
what we love with the person that we love. And I am so glad that when I'm at an airport and shit's hitting the fan, that I have this person next to me, because he's so calm, cool, collected, and he lets me be me.
Good.
And we get to, like, I can
Yes.
tell you guys have that yin yang as well, you and
Very,
Nikolai.
very much yin yang.
Like, how important is that?
oh my God. I mean, apparently it's the only way to do it. So,
Right, that's what I heard.
But
Because
I
I
was gonna
can't-
say,
yeah.
I was gonna say something about these sparks.
Yeah.
The sparks. I read something long time ago that these sparks are actually, this is just anxiety, masked as excitement.
The butterflies in the stomach
The
that they
butterflies, the beginning of the relationship, like sparks. When
Yeah.
you look back, you're like, oh my God, that was so exciting. That was anxiety.
call. Right. Is he
You
gonna hold
were-
my hand? Is he gonna kiss me now? Are we gonna do?
And anxiety is like,
No.
you don't always need anxiety.
No.
So when it's like, when people are like, I miss how it was in the beginning. Bro, I was anxious.
Right.
I was stressed out. I like
Right.
how I am
That's
now.
it. The
Like,
comfort.
The
Yeah.
comfort. And
I
you can
feel you.
still create the excitement.
Yes.
But thank God I don't have the anxiety. Sparks, not for me. That's stress. I don't need the
Stress.
chill, man.
That's
Do you know what I
stress.
mean?
I do.
Because
I
when you're like,
absolutely do.
does he like me? Does he not?
We talk about the fact that there was a point where I looked at him and I was like, cool, we're in this now. Like, I don't think
Yeah.
he's gonna leave me.
Nice. We like that.
So that anxiety,
like,
I totally get it.
the
Because it's
freedom.
like, I didn't think, right, we were excited, we were doing all the things
Yeah,
and all that stuff,
yeah.
but there's still a moment where you're like, well, shit, if we have an argument that is too
Yes,
much,
yes.
or a difference of opinion that
Yeah.
is too different, like a deal breaker, like this, we could just walk away from each
Yeah,
other and this
you
could be
have
the
this
end.
like, oh.
And you're like, oh my God, and I have to start all over again.
Yeah,
Like,
what if he doesn't
how
like me? What
terrifying.
if I do something wrong? Yeah.
Right, and then you kind of feel like you're constantly checking yourself and being like,
Yeah.
am I doing this right? Am I doing
Yeah.
this? And like, yeah, now it's like,
Yeah.
but then we've also had that conversation where it's like, yeah, you're so comfortable, like, we're not gonna leave each other. So
Yeah.
like, you don't wanna get too lax,
Yep.
right? There's that balance, because you're right, you gotta keep
You gotta
it
keep
alive.
refreshing it. Yeah.
But I agree with you. I think it's a girl thing too,
Yeah.
that safety.
Yes.
I think we would rather be in that, I know you're my ride or die,
Mm-hmm.
and I know we're here, and I know we're gonna be in the trenches together, and I know we're gonna succeed together, and
Yeah.
all these things, than to feel that anxiety.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah.
I feel that. So you guys you're planning a wedding.
Planning a wedding.
Yes.
Yes.
And we
I
just
don't-
talked about this before. You're doing it the millennial way with, minimal stress.
Minimal stress.
Trying to do it.
It's a bit later.
That's right. Longer
It's a bit later.
engagement so you can
That's it.
travel, dance, live your life.
Yeah.
Which we're doing
Yeah,
as well.
and I think we're gonna try and just save up and do it kind of like
Yeah.
our way.
You gotta do
we
financially
need to bring our
efficient.
family over.
Oh, that's right, because both your
Like
families.
his family's far, my family's
Yes,
far,
yes,
so we
yes,
gotta
yes.
bring our family. So it's just like a lot of moving parts. So
Absolutely.
we're just gonna do it like how we do it.
I love
Like, we're
it.
chill.
What does it feel like to be able to show up? Because ballroom dancers, another thing we don't talk about a lot is how you you move from studio to studio, and sometimes you rent space out of a studio, and you're an independent instructor and all these things. You now have a place to call home.
I know.
And you're actually creating that home for other people.
That's nice.
Wow.
That feels really nice.
Like, that's like
I know.
repercussion, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's like a domino effect of greatness right there, to be able to share that. I mean, you know.
Tell me more. It feels great. I mean, I can't speak for everyone else, but it feels great to us.
Yeah.
There's just an energy that we are committed to bringing to the place from the beginning. We, Nikolai and Max, wanted to make it dance forward. Like, it is about dance. It's not about anything else. It's
Right.
about dance, love of dance, improvement of dance, striving to be better, striving to improve, striving to like learn. So we always want to try, like we've had this thing where we're trying to have, you know, maybe a visiting coach or someone cool that comes in every month. Because, you know, we want that for dancing, we want that for our industry. There's so many fantastic studios, and, you know, we didn't just want to open a space and just, you know, we
Right.
wanted to give to our industry.
Yeah.
And there's so many fantastic studios, and we like, there's so much greatness in LA.
Yeah.
And there was just this little opening and opportunity that we could add to the greatness of LA, you know?
Well, right, and we needed that. So for those who don't know, Brooklyn Dance Sport in New York with Eugene and Maria is, I mean, famous. I mean, like the highest of the, you know, the best of the best train there. They do boot camps, they do workshops. People fly there. Max, I did an interview with Max, and he said Tatiana and him had some of their best lessons over there. And so with that connection with Eugene, to be able to bring that same energy, except Max goes, we drink coffee outside and it's 85 degrees. He said, we got to do a little different. And I love that. I love that he says that. But the hardcore, like, healthy competition is there. The elite level of knowledge and experts to be able to train the future generations, but also the fun. And I think that's the thing, is that social environment. You're creating something that is really special that I think a lot of independent studios try to create, which is the, before a big competition, before an Emerald or a USDC, like, come do rounds. Like, we're all gonna be here and we're gonna do it together. But then also, like, on a random Tuesday, like, come in and let's do a TikTok. Like, because hello, we all need the content.
We got to do the content now. That's it. I'm trying. I love that. Oh, it's hard work.
It's hard work.
It's hard work.
You need to hire a social media manager.
I know.
To follow you around.
It's what money.
I know, I hear you.
It's expensive, and I like being in control of it. I love what I've been learning from doing all this content creation, and doing it for the studio is very different to doing it for like my personal
That's right, because
stuff.
Max told me you're doing it for the studio.
Oh yeah, I'm like on my phone doing my personal
at
videos,
you.
doing the social media market. I
know.
Like it's.
I know when I'm
very
at a
fun.
comp, I feel like people think I'm super antisocial. I go into a corner, I'm trying to hear the music so I can put it behind a reel,
Hilarious.
and like it is what it is. But the
Yeah.
content's there, and it's
Yeah.
and the clients are happy, and it's amazing.
Yeah, it's
you
this
know?
new. I mean, marketing. I was talking to my friend who has a degree in marketing from like 10 years ago, and she's like, marketing, what I learned is nothing like what it is now. So it's so exciting to be learning about marketing and content creation and business promotion.
Yeah.
Now, because I'm literally doing it. So I'm like learning as I'm doing it, and learning as I'm doing it. It's so cool. It's added so much to me, like even as a dancer on the floor, because now I have an idea, like, you read about how to market a business, and you've got to have these marketing points, and you've got to sell it this way, and you've got to do that. And like on the floor, I'm like, I can also apply these things.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, I can also curate the things that people see, the way they see me, why they see, blah, blah, blah. So it's
because all of you, it's all a brand.
Yeah.
It's all part of who you are.
It's fascinating.
What is the craziest thing someone said about your dancing? Like good, bad, or I mean, it doesn't have to be bad. When I say crazy, I mean like.
I know my mind went like immediately into all the bad things.
Yeah. No, I don't want you to think that. That's why.
No,
that's why I
fine.
clarified. But in the sense of like, I mean, I'm sorry. When I saw you on the floor last night, this is like the second or third time I've seen you live, because you guys do a lot of international comps. I'm like, come over here to us. No, I love it. I think it's so great. But You are this different personality on the floor. And I've watched your 3 rounds and you are not, like, I already knew what your choreography was gonna be, so I could kind of like, okay, I'm gonna film this over here. And then you give me like a fun little anecdote. And I'm like, this is so great because I'm never bored watching you.
That's nice.
Never bored. I'm like, what is she gonna do next?
Yeah.
I'm so excited. That is the best. I think that's one of the best compliments that someone could give another person of like, I'm on the edge of my seat. That's very
really
similar
awesome.
to like what I said with Shane and Shannon Jensen. They're always innovating with the cabaret, and I'm like, that is so hard to do.
Cool.
But what you're doing is just you.
Yeah.
You're just being yourself.
She might be a little too wild, but I mean, we're going with it because like self-acceptance.
Like, yeah, right. Like, watch out. Like last night they had like what? They had like a song from Burlesque that they
That was
played.
so good.
I know. And I was like, oh my God,
Look
this
at
girl's
she
about to
got
come
that one. I think
out.
that one. Yeah, I
Yes.
hope somebody videoed that. If anybody.
Yes.
You videoed that?
I have some stuff.
Oh, fire.
I always
I
have
was
some stuff.
singing along.
It was
whole
great.
thing. It was a whole
I
thing.
do. I have some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's really cool. So has someone said anything about like, because you really are giving something very different. Everyone's giving the intensity, the faces, but you're really like, you're playing with the audience. You're kissing the audience. Someone handed you flowers last night while you were dancing, or they told you to keep spinning.
Yeah.
And you were like, who said that?
That was a good one.
That was a good one.
This guy just said like, keep spin. I'm spinning. We're doing it.
Yes.
This thing that goes around this new step, by the way, that makes me nauseous already. Like it's a nightmare. It's spinning, and the music stops, and the guy's like, keep spinning, and I'm like.
And
Am
you
I
just
allowed
kept
to swear?
going.
I'm like, bitch. All right.
You're like, don't challenge me right now.
Don't challenge me. And then I got out of it, and I was like, I was so like, I was so gagging, and I was like, really?
You're like, who
Really?
said that?
Who said?
But that's what I'm saying. You know who else does that? Who I know you love as well. Very good friends of ours, Andre and Katerina.
Right.
Every time I see him do his jive,
Yeah.
he's always giving me a different thing.
Yeah,
he sits down. I think Noel said he did a lap around the ballroom last night.
hilarious.
Like, that's what we want to see.
Yeah, I feel like it's nice as we're all peers and we're all kind of gently going in this direction of like being okay to be in the moment, especially an American audience.
Yes.
American audience and the idea of dancing in America, it's quite different to Europe.
Right.
So also knowing your levels of how much is appropriate is also a learning curve.
Yes.
But doing it with our friends like Andre and Katya, I've also like, I feel their energy. We're great friends and we have great fun on the floor.
Yes.
They come to the studio, so we're all like, as peers, I don't know, leveling up and enjoying that sense of community on the floor.
Yes.
It's very refreshing.
But also
Yeah.
delivering extremely high level
Cool.
of dancing.
Cool.
Andre and Katerina's jive is one of my favorites. I think the jive
Yeah.
and the mambo and the rhythm is one of the hardest dances. It's the last one, everyone's tired. And I think it's very hard to create that rawness, that energy. And Andre just like, he's a machine
He's a
on the
dude.
floor.
He's a dude, yeah.
Oh my God, and that jive,
Yeah.
I watched your jive last night.
Yeah.
Rivals it. Like for me, it's like you two, it was the two of you guys on the floor
That's
giving
nice.
me jive.
Cool.
And
Should
it was
be on the judging panel.
incredible. Right. Yeah, it was incredible. I was
Cool.
like, oh my God, it's like you didn't run out of energy and you're not phoning it in. Like you're giving me all the stuff I want to see.
Cool, good.
And that's really hard to do, man.
awesome.
Like people don't realize how hard that is. Like it doesn't matter how much you want this. It doesn't matter how much you love this. You can give everything and still fall short.
Yep.
And you're just
Apparently,
giving
yeah.
me, I'm sad when the song is over because I'm like,
That's
why?
awesome. That's awesome.
And sometimes that's not the feeling. And so I just thank you for just being so real.
Cool.
It's so nice to see. It's so
awesome.
refreshing.
Yay.
I just want to know, this word wellness is very kind of trendy. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people are trying to figure out what falls into those categories. We don't have a lot of, I would say, support, I think, in mental, physical, financial wellness in our industry. It's a lot of coaching. This is what you do. This is what we did to win. So this is what you should do to win.
Yeah.
But we're in this new era. Like you said, marketing has changed. So has the way we take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
when I say wellness, what does that mean to you? How do you show up for yourself in that way?
A lot of trial and error, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, it's such a huge topic also in the fact that you were like physical wellness, mental wellness, financial
wellness.
Financial wellness, like we know nothing. I
Nothing.
grew up,
Yeah.
not like I didn't grow up knowing nothing, but to get to where I wanted to be and to where I am,
Yeah.
there was a lot of financial mistakes. Like we all really, really suffered, and
We learn from those.
we
who-
learned from before. the
Right,
people
our
before.
parents, our coaches, our
yeah,
peers,
yeah.
and they can only teach us what they know.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's
But shout out to my parents.
Yeah.
I felt like they gave me, they're just wonderful, but like a lot of the time I didn't listen.
I see,
A lot of the time I didn't listen. And I
see.
also left the country. I was like, okay, peace out, but I love you guys.
How old were you when you left?
I think I was 19.
Yeah.
But like I saved up for a year
Mm.
after high school. I saved up for a year. I literally worked at McDonald's.
Wow.
Worked at McDonald's. McCafe though, so like,
Yeah.
but still.
She said it was the Panera at McDonald's.
Correct. Wait, I don't know all these American references.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Panera's like a bakery cafe.
It is, right?
Yeah, and so it's like I remember I worked at Panera.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, at least I'm not working at like a Burger King.
Nice.
You know what I
okay,
mean?
Yes.
Like it's like the cute.
Yes, okay, yeah,
like
yeah,
little thing.
okay,
Like
get
I
it.
was still washing dishes in the back, but I was like, well,
It's
but in the
Panera.
front,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's
Okay,
like,
I love
yeah.
that. Okay. Yeah. So I was doing that.
I love it.
And I saved up for a year, and I moved away, and I still like. I guess we're now in a time when it's completely different because when I go online, like on TikTok or anything, there's 64 people giving me financial advice, which I'm like, if I had known this like 10 years ago,
Right.
I would not be.
Seriously.
I would probably be a different person, but I
Right.
also probably wouldn't have listened. But anyway,
Right.
there's so much now.
We'd be
this-
rich off Bitcoin at this point.
Oh, apparently, you, me, and everybody else.
Seriously.
There's so much information now, which
Yeah.
is fantastic. Which is,
It can be overwhelming.
it is overwhelming,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's great that there's so much now because the stuff that I was sifting through, like the stuff, it's such a huge topic. Eating,
Yeah.
and being healthy in
Mm.
your body, being the right weight, being physically able to dance and to do what we do, eating the right things,
Yeah.
and understanding about nutrition, I think is a topic at some points in the next year I want to open up because the learning curve that I had to do within that realm, and I didn't even know if that was probably self-inflicted because there was a lot, like I hated how I looked, so I would like not eat or try not to eat and then do certain things and then get really hungry and then eat a lot, and I just didn't have the education at that time years ago was terrible,
Right.
absolutely terrible.
Oh, yeah.
And so the obsession now with wellness, it's over the top, of course, because everything kind of goes over the top and there's information about
yes.
everything, but I'm just so glad that there's so much resource and so much.
Well, that's the
There-
thing. There's no excuse anymore, I think. For me, the way I see it is that, like, we're still going to have all the issues.
Issues, yeah.
Body image, anorexia,
Yeah. Financial
struggles,
whatever.
all these
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
However, all we have to do
Yeah.
is just go on Google,
Get on your TikTok.
get on a
and
TikTok,
there'll be 20 people
and just
telling
be
you.
like,
Yeah.
how do I, ChatGPT, how do I blah, blah, blah.
ChatGPT.
Enter,
Yeah.
enter your thing here. And so being able to have that as a resource, it's just a matter of asking for help, sifting through, you
Yeah.
Google a few, 20 or so
yeah,
things,
yeah.
you start to see some trends.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, got it. Everyone's drinking the celery juice, or
Yeah.
everyone's doing
Yeah.
the this. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And then you start, and then that's when you start to do the trial and error. Is when you're like, cool, let me try this.
Yeah.
It didn't work for me.
Yeah.
Right? Or you're trying a new deodorant. Okay, that didn't work for me. Or this one worked for me. I mean, just
Yeah,
as
no,
simple as something
yes.
like that. It's
Yeah.
crazy. The non-toxic.
I mean, we're in a
no
we're in a great place.
We really
like
are.
my shampoo doesn't have certain things. My deodorant
know.
doesn't have
I
that.
know.
My clothes, I shop at a blah, blah, blah. This is just, it's brilliant. And where we are now is brilliant.
It's
Because when I was growing up, I was thinking about this morning. I was growing up, at least I think I was on the end of the era where it was the kind of the Britney Spears era.
Yeah.
There's my accent coming in. Where, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it was like the slim, no hips,
Right.
low cut jean,
Yep.
kind of showing your midriff.
Yep.
And they were all like flat and flat and
That's it.
flat.
90s.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I grew up in that
Yeah, same.
era,
Same.
which was extremely confusing because at that time they had no obsession with wellness or like
Right.
being fit is cool and you should eat this XYZ nutritional things. They didn't have any of that.
They told me in high school I had to drink a lot of milk. And that was gonna grow, and now all of a sudden they're like, milk is terrible for you. And you're
Yes.
just like,
yeah.
What is happening?
Milk, yes. Now no milk.
Now no
we're
milk.
kind of medium milk.
right.
So,
Everyone pushed an agenda, right? all the.
But it was before
yeah.
they didn't base it off of like educated decisions.
Well, that's the thing.
So now the trends,
Yeah.
there's still trends, but it feels as though they're kind of, people are obsessed with learning the education behind the trends.
Right.
Well, this milk trend I follow because XYZ about milk. Okay,
Right.
you have your points. Whereas before they didn't have their
No.
points. So we were just like, all right, let me try and like not eat.
Right. At this point, I don't even know. Yeah.
Which,
But you're-
disclaimer,
Yeah.
I am so bad at sticking to things. I tried to not eat and it just didn't work out.
No.
So luckily for me, not being able to stick to things was great
Right.
because I ended up eating anyway.
Thank God.
So yeah,
Right?
it's
It saved you in the long run.
Yeah.
I think we're focusing more on the root cause at this point. A lot of people were just surface level. And now it's like, now we want to know what's
Yeah.
happening. What's the
Yeah.
root cause? Yeah, we're definitely going to have like a part B and C to this in
Yeah,
the
we
sense
should.
of like wellness, because with the project that I just started with the dance wellness community, if you really want to talk about nutrition,
Yeah.
I've got some practitioners, they're dietitians, all these things like
That'd be
that.
great,
This is the
actually.
kind of stuff that needs to be
Yeah.
discussed not only in our industry but everywhere.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, they always say like, people are like, oh my gosh, how can I change the world? I'm just one person. Well, it's like start in your backyard. And our backyard is the dance world.
yeah.
Those are our people.
Yeah.
This is the place where we grew up in. I think if I had more of this information now, I'd be on the floor with you last night if I had more of this information. Really? My brother and I, we grew up in a dance studio. We were like, we could have been, you know, Novikovs ready to go. And I think the thing is that we saw everyone at that time just exhausted, burning themselves out,
Wow.
not having a life.
Yeah.
And my brother and I were like, I don't want any part of that.
Wow.
My brother was like, if I'm gonna do that, I wanna go be in Hollywood.
Wow.
I don't want to just be a ballroom dancer and win a national title. I want to go be in a movie. You know what I mean? And so, and then he went through his therapy and he's like, you know, now
Wow.
he's got his work-life balance as well.
Yeah.
And so providing these resources and honestly, even just this conversation, right, is just the way for us to get people to
People talking. Yeah.
and being like, you don't have to suffer in silence.
No.
You're not alone.
Yeah.
We're all going through it.
Yeah.
And it kind of like full circle, so we can kind of wrap this up because I feel like we could do this for hours.
We could.
For sure.
We could.
But full circle of like, that's exactly what's happening
Yeah.
with your Instagram. You're showing people,
Cool, good.
let's have this conversation.
Yeah.
Even if it's something funny like
Yeah.
my fringe got stuck to
Yeah.
my lip gloss. It's
Yeah.
like, girl, what lip gloss do you use? Let's
Yeah.
talk about it.
Yeah.
Or, oh my gosh,
Or like, look at
what
me-
was going through your head in that moment?
Or look at me being okay with that.
Look at you being
like,
okay with
it's
that.
okay.
And you probably
It's
still
okay.
won. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it
yeah,
doesn't,
yeah.
it's not going to affect,
Yeah. You're not gonna die.
right?
You're not gonna
But
die.
did you die?
But did you die? Which is terrible. We shouldn't joke about that.
No,
But-
for sure. But
But
people
the-
get it. It's a meme.
Yes, I know, I
But
know.
one of the videos, someone said when you like went off the floor onto the side, and someone was like, "But I want to see your partner's reaction." What does Nikolai say to you with the Elvis moves
He
and the boob grabs
is-
and all the things? Does he just love it all?
He
lets
is
you be you.
So yeah, that's what I mean. Because I'm in peace with it. He's in peace with it. But we have a limit. I love your baby, by the way. I cannot.
He's
My
back there
baby
like,
is in the
I want to be a part
background.
of the conversation.
He is in peace with it because I'm in peace with it. But
Yeah.
it took us a journey for me to know how much I can put out there and on the floor.
Because he's a little bit more introverted in that way.
Yeah,
And he really is kind of bringing that. I mean, he's an amazing Latin dancer on the floor. He's bringing that technique. Not that you're not, of course. You both are.
But he has much different strengths than me.
Right.
He's very smart. He's very technical.
Yes.
He's not going to like grab his boobs.
No,
I am the
not.
boob grabber, apparently. So like it's a good yin and yang. But
that's
he's
where your
very
brains
chill.
are, right? Is that what you said?
Correct. There they are.
I love it. No, but so that's the thing. I love that he lets you be you.
Yeah.
And also I think he sees that like you're getting noticed because of that. As a couple.
Yeah.
You know, you guys are bringing the technique.
Yeah.
You're bringing the chemistry. You're
Yeah.
bringing the musicality. But you're also bringing the fun.
Cool.
And you're bringing the diversity.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I see you, I don't know what I'm going to get.
Me neither, girl.
I know.
I also don't know.
I know, but like, gosh, as a judge, that alone would make me want to watch you.
I hope
like,
so.
what's Sarah going to bring on the floor
I
tonight?
hope so. Let's see.
That's exciting.
Let's see.
It's exciting.
Cool.
I'm very excited for you.
Thank you.
Like, wedding, studio,
dancing, still.
dancing,
Yeah.
all the things.
Yeah.
I mean, you're doing so well in all these
Thank you.
categories. And that is why we're going to keep talking about that wellness.
Yeah.
Because that balance of all of those things that you're doing, you know, back in the day they told us that being a high achiever and then having a work-life balance, they don't go hand in hand. You cannot have both.
Look at us.
Look at
at
us.
us.
I love that because I want to just like, and not in an arrogant way.
No.
In a like,
Look
you
at
can
us.
do it too.
Yes.
Because it can be
the
done.
way to take that out of arrogance is like, look at us, but we're not putting you down. Look at us, and
Right.
we want to big you up
and
too.
we want to bring you to where,
Like,
yeah,
let's
we
go,
want to show
let's be
you the freedom land,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
Because it can be done. I believe that you can be a high achiever. Because people told me all the time, oh, well, you're not going to achieve at a high level. If you want work-life balance, like, you're just not going to achieve at a high level. And I was like, but I want to keep it right. But back in the day, there was no
Right.
roadmap for that.
Really.
Now there is, and now people are doing it. And
Yeah.
they're like, I'm winning all of my competitions, and then I'm going to Europe for 2 months and taking a break.
Yeah, we're just making it work.
We're making it work.
We're
And
doing what we like.
we're not perfect, because I know when I just said that, you were like, girl, who's going to Europe for 2 months? Like,
Yes.
it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
But you're still taking time for yourself. You're still doing the things, and I appreciate
It's a very imbalanced balance.
Right.
There's no like.
that. We have seasons.
Yes, and as
Right.
and sometimes I have a lot of work, sometimes I don't.
Right.
Sometimes it's
Right.
a shit show.
Right.
Sometimes it's totally perfect and amazing and oh my god, I'm so cool, and then the next moment it's not. Like
Right.
that for me, I've found the balance within that.
Right.
That's where
and
we're
as
at.
long as you give yourself the time to recover after. Like now, you know, we go through busy seasons too, and it's like, ooh, but man, once we hit halfway through December,
Yeah.
that's it. We're good till mid-January. And you're just like, it's not like we live for that because we're excited for what we're doing.
Yeah.
But we know that it's not going to last forever, which means we're
Yeah.
not going to get ourselves into a cycle of burnout.
Yeah.
And I think that's important.
That's what we're
Is
aiming
just know-
for.
Yeah.
We're aiming for that.
Right. That's the goal right there.
That's the goal.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You're amazing.
Yay. So are you. So are you. Look
Stop
at
it.
us.
Look at us.
Look at us. We'll see you back here next time.
That's right.
when we
Thank you
talk
guys so
about
much for watching. If you have
everything
any
else.
questions, we're going to put everything in the show notes so you can go follow Sarah on Instagram because it's going to change your life. I'm telling you.
Talk me up like that.
No, it's going to make you feel like you want to be real and authentic.
Cool.
It's going to be, it's going to make you feel like Sarah, Sarah's the best friend. She's the girl next door that's gonna be like your cheerleader. That's what I feel like is like
Great.
we're your cheerleaders, but you're like, but I also want to be your cheerleader.
Heck yeah.
And that's what I feel from you.
That's awesome.
And that is so genuine, and we need more of that in the world. And I appreciate you bringing that energy.
That's it.
Especially at the level that you're at.
That's it.
Let's go.
Okay, bye.
That's it.
It's too good, the secret is out and wow. Uh-huh.